Hello and welcome to Peaceful Rebellion and to
Alternative interactions.
with Gary. Gary, how the dickens are you?
I'm very well, but very hot at the moment. Everything's sticking to me. It's 30 degrees today, and the humidity is about 500%.
Feels that 30 degrees feels like 50. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, but I'm very, very well. Thank you very much, Gordon. How are you today?
I am fandabidosi, to use an expression from a little couple from Scotland, weren't they? What were they
Yes,
called?
the Crankies.
The Crankies. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, one looked like Nicola Sturgeon, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, like a shrunken version. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Slightly less corrupt version. And for those who don't know who Nicola Sturgeon is, please Google her.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Gary, listen, we were having a chat on Telegram, I think, weren't we, a while ago, and what inspired it was me passing over a video of a guy from Redacted who was just saying in this very long, very he was looked worn out. He looked worn out, just saying, and now I've come to the conclusion that everything is a lie. And he was like huffing and puffing and everything. And I thought, I know where you are. I know where you are. I've been there. What did you make of that?
Exactly the same. It was the moment where he couldn't contain his disgust of the system any longer, and the weariness was also the worry of the fact that he was expressing to his community something that's kind of unpalatable. If that's
Yeah,
I- it, we've talked about we know nothing, everything's a lie. I think you said many times Candice Owens, she says everything's fake and gay, doesn't
big
she?
and
Something
gay.
like that.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
So for us, we've already gone through this. It's kind of an aha moment, but it's also a dark night of the soul. It's another one of those, oh my gods. And however you want to dress it up, it's a very difficult period. It was for me personally. Um, I mean, I can remember running around saying to everybody, everything's a lie. Everything we've ever been told, it's a lie. And it's not just a little lie, it's a whopping lie. And I don't know anything anymore. And oh my God. And I lost friends over it quite quickly, I can assure you.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I recall my aunt, bless her soul. She uh, she was very, 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 very sort of plugged into the Matrix. And I remember talking to her. She came back. She'd done my mum's shopping. She came back, and I looked at the list. I don't know why I looked at it, but it had £1 donation to Red Cross or something like that. And I said, have you donated to the Red Cross? Yes, of course I have. I said, well, you know that £1 never gets to anybody. 99 pence goes to administration. And we, she just launched in me, said, you say no to everything. You just are so miserable about everything. And I was thinking, I think I probably am. Like you become quite dark, don't you, in the way that you look at things?
You can be. And certainly I see it quite a lot in my comments, and I'm sure you do as well, Gordon. We have a percentage of people who are still in that dark period
Yeah, for sure.
of the process of the journey. I'm not going to call it awakening. I'm going to call it the process of the journey. And we've all been down that road. We've all been down the almost depressed, dark, very dark place. And that's not the not dark night of the soul. That is a real unpleasant period. It was in my life of realization of just how everything I did in society was actually feeding the one thing that I didn't want to feed.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a you kind of have to, it's what do we call it in all kinds of situations, the death of the ego, the phoenix dying and rising from the ashes. this is what we all have to go through. It's like, right, I need to rebuild myself. I need to re-establish who I am and my relationship with what's going on around me. And you, as you say, I see there's a lot of people in that place at the moment, and it's good that you said, I'm not going to say awakening, but the process, because the question is, or the situation is, being awake doesn't mean anything. It's a term that we've used. It was like asleep or awake. And at the time, I think when pandemic was on and all of that, it was very clear, asleep or awake, this or not. But the process of awakening is so big, it's so fractal that, I mean, we've got a group on Telegram. I know you've got your Telegram group as well. The people in our group are at a very, very different place to the people sometimes that are just waking up, just going into that. They're in a completely different place. So being awake is too big now. It's too
Yeah,
broad of a title.
yeah. It's a multifaceted um journey. And again, what I see as well, I mean, from not only from your group, I'm on several groups and that, and you know, you get these new people coming in. So I've actually got a private group and I've got a group that's linked to my alternative interactions. And there's not really a lot of chat goes on the alternative interactions, but it's well supported. And if they want to leave comments, they do. And I always respond, not always on the
Yeah.
day because for some reason the chat bot doesn't ever tell me that I've got a chat, you know. But in my private group, only about 60, 65 people in it. Everybody in that group fundamentally is at a level where they don't share certain people anymore. They don't share certain information
Yeah.
anymore because they've gone through the hours of research that they then know that these people are pointless or no good, or that it's not relevant to the stage that they're at.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be very careful here what I'm saying,
Sure.
but new people coming in, I'll give Mel an example. Gordon knows Mel. When Mel first woke up in 2020, my partner didn't know her then. She joined Peaceful Rebellion, and Gordon was one of the people who helped her through that initial stage of awakening. And when you said it's awake or not, it was blue pill or red pill. The,
Absolutely.
the, the blue pill and red pill concept has completely gone out the window now. It doesn't even exist. But initially, it's take the blue pill and the red pill, and then Neo goes on the journey. So, awake or asleep is actually the first step of the journey,
Yeah.
the fool's journey. So, anyway, Mel's watching Gordon, and Gordon's helping her, and the community helped her very much in the journey and helping. So, I'm always grateful for Gordon and that as well, and those around. And I think one of the ladies, Kerry, who you did an interview with,
Yeah.
she was there back then as well. And like they used to do discos, didn't you? You had disco
That's right.
evenings
On
and
a
things.
Friday night. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. See. Oh, yeah, keep an eye on things.
Absolutely.
Not that I was there at that point, but it's
Uh-huh.
really, it was lovely things that we did. And Mel's going through her paperwork, and you know, she's found this piece of paper, and it's from 2020, and it's a double side of A4 paper of names of channels that she was looking at and following.
Right.
And this is and so she would have been looking at and sharing all of these different channels as a scattergun approach of looking at stuff. And as you go further into the journey and you create something called discernment and knowledge, the discernment and knowledge come in, and you then start to be appreciative of some of those that have helped you initially, but you outgrow them and you go to the
Yeah.
next stage or the next stage.
Sure.
And this is it's like an
Yeah.
evolution of. And so when you get new people coming in, from what they're sharing, you can observe what part of the evolution of the journey they're actually in. And you know that if you put something in front of them that we would talk about perhaps in the private, it will trigger them.
Yeah. 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 I see that. And in our group, when you can see when people come in and they start sharing fear porn or what we would call hopium, you know, the two things, and you think, okay, I understand that you're just coming into this. And the nice thing is, people in the group say, by the way, just so you know, don't want to spoil your fun, but that person and they la 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 la, I mean, even I was privy to a conversation because it was in the Peaceful Rebellion. They were talking about hopium, about people who sell hopium, and they were saying, yeah, because we all got dragged in. I mean, we were desperate. We desperately needed hopium in 2020. We needed to hear good news and all of that. But then you obviously get buyer's remorse, and you think, well, I'm not going to buy into that anymore. And somebody put, I even think Gordon's message is hopium, the emissary's message is hopium, but I like listening to it anyway. I was like, it's very, very possible. I've always been, I mean, the emissary's message has always been a positive one anyway. It has never, ever, ever. The only thing they've never done is put timeframes on anything, but they've always been positive. So I can't change that because that's a message that they've got. It is a message of great hope, but not aggressive message of great hopium, which is
No,
very different.
yeah,
It's very different.
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the hopium thing is a massive part of the journey
Yes.
and probably one of the most difficult parts of the journey. And even today, I have, I'm trying to be careful here.
Yes, be careful.
Certain people or certain bits of information will be shared. And I'm like, really? I thought you were beyond that by now. I can't believe you're still hanging on to that part. But also, I understand why they are
Yes.
because, okay, our personality, our self being is based on certain foundations that we give ourselves.
Hmm.
I am a good person. I am this. I am that. I am the other. And this is a basis, if we think in tarot terms, this is the tower. And the tower is built on certain fundamental principles that we have accepted through our lives that have created our personality, our outlook, and our ability to create this tower of who we are. The redacted guy had just realized that his entire tower was built on a level of lies. And
True.
that's all he's expressing, everybody. But many people, even when they get to a certain height of that tower and the tower's starting to sway, will not pull out one of the loose bricks and put something a bit more tangible in the bottom of the tower. They like to keep their familiars. Nothing wrong with that. I understand that. But for me personally, if it doesn't serve, I cannot facilitate the non-serving anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think but that comes with, let's use that word, and it's not really the right word, but with a kind of what I would call a maturity of discernment. You can't, at the beginning, I think we were all of us in some way were taken in by because we so desperately wanted something to hang on to. But it's like, the cry wolf. You see it once, you see it again, you see it again, and you go, right, I know where I can put that now. But of course, what happens is nobody wants to be made a fool of. Nobody wants to look like they've been fooled. Uh, what's that expression? It's easier to fool somebody than to help them to understand that they're being fooled,
Yes,
you know? And that's because it's too painful. We're proud, we're proud people, and we think that we're intelligent. And so when we're faced with the idea that, hang on a minute, everything you've got in your head's a lie, you go, it's a bit too much for me to handle. And so we would reject it. And I dare say that we all do that. In some way. We reject things just because it's too painful to let them go.
Yeah, certainly, certainly. One thing I will point out though, everybody, is that I am in total gratitude for all the hopium sellers at the time around 2020. And even if they were being completely 100% dishonest, and some were, let's
Hmm.
be fair about this. The fact is that they brought people together at the time that, and they served a purpose that they don't even or can't even comprehend. Okay. So I'm actually in gratitude for some of the people, some of the organization, or one of the organizations I joined left and and then caused a ruckus with because that's another story.
Hmm.
But however dark or horrid these people are, and I see it now very clearly, I'm actually in gratitude because they helped me at a time that I needed help. They gave me the hopium that I needed to get through. And then they were also able to allow me to learn discernment in a way that I could not have done otherwise. So the role in which these people have played has been pivotal to me getting to this stage now. And so I'm in total gratitude. So even if I sound as if they're like actually, it's a duality, and everything in this realm is a duality. It's a double-edged sword. And so it would be wrong of me not to thank them from the bottom of my heart, and I really mean this, thank them for being terrible.
Exactly. And let me add to that because it's such a good point that you've made. I've just written down there, nothing can stop the Great Awakening. So what I see, and this applies to, if you want to call it, the baddies as well. Everything that happens only serves to move the Great Awakening forward. It doesn't matter who it is. I mean, I think of all of those involved, we are probably the worst at it, getting people, awake and aware. But the baddies are really good at it. Everything that they touch turns to shit for them in their plan. The same as you said, everybody, even if the intention was bad, they still woke up a swathe of people, and so in the scheme of things, we're all working for the same goal. In the scheme of things, it doesn't matter where we're coming from. There's nothing that's going to stop this from happening. Let me share. I was talking to the emissaries today, Gary, and they give me some messages to share for our chat because again, we were saying people are tired. People are tired. People are. They've got awakening fatigue. Yeah, like for God's sake, I am awake. Wow, now what? And the emissary said this, just a little, they always like sometimes give me these little trite things, and always like have a smirk on their face when they say it. I don't know why. But they said, um, we're in the best time ever, and we're in the worst time ever. That's exactly what they said. And they said, and the reason is that it's the best time and the worst time. There has never been a time like it. The time that we're in, they said, this is the last scene in the play. It's the last scene in the film. It's the dynamic bit. It's the big bit. And so they said, this is the bang. Um, so they said that no matter what happens, if we want to get to the other side, we've got to pass through this. And as you said, we've been asking for this, and it's here. It's here. So they're saying, if you try and deny it or you're sick of it, we're not doing ourselves any favors because this is why this is what this has all been leading up to. They said that this part that we're in is the end of a sequence of timelines that has been woven to bring us here. This is like the best bit, but the worst bit as well at the same time.
Totally agree. Totally
Mm.
agree. Uh, I mean, on my channel, just as we came on, I joined, a couple of minutes before Gordon opened the link, and I was responding to somebody, and they were saying, Nothing's changing. It's all pants basically. It's pointless. You know. I, I think it was in relation to my pendulum forecast. Well, nothing's happening, then it's a nothing burger. And it's like, no, this is actually the best time in the world ever. This is the time. This is the one. And as I was speaking to Gordon before this, it's about buyer's remorse almost, because you're wishing for something to happen and now it is, and now you don't want it.
Sure.
Be careful what you wish for. But we have to go through this stage to be able to leave this part alone, you know? So if we take a driving analogy, I, I should imagine the majority of the audience knows about cars, has driven a car, has been in a car. So the analogy is cars, okay? When you first jump in a car, you're a bit pants and it takes a long while for you to get used to driving, okay? You then get to the cocky stage where you're probably going to have an accident. You're probably going to, you know, bad weather. You're going to skid on the ice, and oh my God, it's suddenly there's different influences affecting me driving this car. It's just not me driving the car, and I'm got used to the controls. There's all these different influences now, and these different influences, you then start to go past that stage to the point in which you can drive your car and you're good at it, and you really are good at it. And then you don't even have to think about it, it becomes natural. At the moment, we're at the stage where we've got these external influences and suddenly the car's skidding and it suddenly doesn't feel as, you know how to do it, you're doing it, you've been doing it, you can drive the car. All of a sudden you hit some ice and suddenly it's snowing, it's raining, and the conditions are a little bit, oh, but you got to go through that to get to the point where, oh, it's a lovely sunny day. I'm driving along and it's absolutely lovely. And this is where we're at the moment. We're on the ice and it's
Um,
not going to be pleasant for many. For some of us, it's going to be okay because we're going to recognize that what it is what it is.
yeah. The emissaries give me another analogy, metaphor, or whatever, because obviously I work with music a lot, and I've been kind of looking at how music works, how a good song works, and all of that. And they made me think of what happens when this a song is like a journey. So it starts. Let's say you start off in the key of C, and off you go, and you start going through different notes, different chords, and everything. The best songs are the ones that come back around and just before there might be in a weird note or whatever, and then finally they move back to C again. It's called resolution. And what happens is a good song keeps you waiting. And you're like, whoa, that I'll give you a perfect example, which is a part of the Mandela effect. You know the song, Because We Are the Champions, right? And they'll hang on to that. Everybody's waiting for Of the World, and then it doesn't come because they've taken it away from the Mandela effect. It's not there anymore. But the resolution is Of the World, and then you're like, I feel better now. Yeah, it's called resolution. It's very important in music. If you haven't got that in your song, it's not going to be a hit. So we are in the point just before resolution. We're in that, and it's an uncomfortable place because we know where we're going, but we're just not there yet. And it's like, I want Of the World.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's where we are.
yeah. We're actually not that we've ever been in control because we never have been in control.
Mm.
But I think one of the things that we're now observing and understanding is that we really are not in control and we have no control. And we're in the car on the ice and we're sliding. And this goes again back to the redacted stuff. And he's talking about it's all lies because everything that was built upon what he expected, he's suddenly hit the ice. He's suddenly skidding because his foundations have turned into a reality of understanding absolutely every single thing that's happened in our history, and most of our history is complete rubbish, even modern history. You cannot rely on any of it. It is complete and utter fantasy at
Oh,
best.
I thought you were
You
going
know,
to say bollocks there, but of course you don't swear, do you?
no, not often. No, no, no. I do swear, and this is quite funny. So privately, Gordon and I were having a conversation, and I responded in a voice message, um, and I had a bit of a rant, and my language was quite colourful, wasn't it, Gordon?
It was. It was blue.
And Gordon asked me the question why I don't swear very often on YouTube. Now, bearing in mind that I've worked in factories much of my life, was brought up around blokes fishing as a kid who would talk about all sorts of very interesting things with ladies and, you know, male conversations. No different to female conversations, by the way. We must be clear about this.
Mm,
And I said I don't swear on YouTube because at the point in which I do, it means something very strongly and will have a big effect. So at some point in the future, there could be a tirade coming that will be seen as being out of character, but it's not out of character. What you see here is kind of a calm down,
sure.
goody two shoes bit, you know. But yeah, so I do swear. But
Exactly. I said to Gary, keep this message and share it later on because it was fab. It was fab. I laughed such a lot. Tell you something else as well, Gary, that the emissary shared with me, and it was about how to cope with this. Because it's one thing to say, yeah, yeah, it's tough, and all of that, and but we need solutions. Sometimes we need to know how to manage this. And they said, and this is not, you will have heard this before, but this is what they said. They always come back to it. They said, for you to cope with where we are now, you must, and must capitals, must understand that you chose to do this. Yeah. And what they said is this, and they give me a metaphor, and they reminded me, I once did the Newcastle City Marathon, right? When I was 21, 22, I did a marathon. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I didn't train enough for it. I hit the wall. Have you heard of the wall? Yeah. I hit the wall at 18 miles, far too early. So I ran for 8 miles in the most excruciating pain you could possibly imagine, from head to toe, pain. I was running so slowly that a man with a dog walking his dog overtook me. I was running and a man went past me. I thought, what the hell? How slowly am I running? But they reminded me that they said, you finished that. I did finish it. Took me ages. But I finished it because I signed up for it, because I trained for it, because I chose to do it. And they said, imagine somebody made you do that. You would never have finished it. It would have been impossible because what they said is this, and just to underline these things. When we believe that we chose to be here, that belief then gives us unlimited resources. Uh, when you know that you chose to be here, then you can accept it. They said it won't make the pain go away. That's what they said. Accepting that you chose to be here won't make the pain go away. It won't make the bad stuff stop happening. It'll just make it easier to cope with.
yeah, yeah,
That was their
totally.
message. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, there have been some quite cruel experiments done because man is cruel fundamentally. Uh, we're not necessarily, but you know,
Yeah. Yeah. I think when you say man, I think you're talking about a specific group of men.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. One of those specific groups of men was at a congressional hearing very recently who pleaded the fifth on everything. So we know who we're talking about now, everybody.
Sure.
Um, and they've done this. They put rats in water and the rats didn't think they were going to be saved. And so after a short period, they started to drown. Then the hand came in, picked them up. They recovered a bit, and then they put back in the water. But when they went back in the water, because they believed they were going to be saved, they all went 5, 10, whatever it was, times longer before they needed rescuing again.
Yeah.
Because they believed that they would be rescued or there. And so the point is that we know that we came here. And it's a knowing. We know we came here to do something. We know, I know, I know, and I don't know how I can explain how I know, but I know. I know we came in here to witness and or be part of the final stage of the final part of the game that we're now in, the final reset of the last. There will be no more resets after this reset.
Mm.
It's done. This realm, this reality, this experience will never be experienced by anybody else ever again because it serves no purpose anymore. So, in the personal, if you've got an issue and you're experienced something that you've already experienced, you've lived through this already, you actually have the power to say, I don't want to have this experience anymore. I've already had the experience of this experience, whether it's lack or whatever it is, and I'm going to change this experience. And I know that something will come up that will change that experience, if it's lack of something, that will then change the entire experience. But unless you physically say that in your head and you mean it and you want it, you're going to keep having this same experience. Fundamentally, we've now got to the stage where universally, energy wise, we've got to the stage where the universe is saying, not just us, the universe is saying, actually, this experience has now been done so many times on so many repeat and rinse, repeat and rinse, repeat and rinse. There's no value to it anymore.
Mm.
Source isn't learning anything from this. How much suffering does or lack of or want or misery does Source want to observe via a third party? Be very clear. Source is not the one giving this. We've got a third party interloper in here that's
Mm.
causing the issues. There's no value to it. If there's no value, then that needs to change. And so we're in here at the moment to observe, be part of, or have the perception of being part of the change and have this amazing experience. And we chose to be here for that. And do you know what? I reckon there's millions or billions of beings out there who are absolutely as jealous as anything that we're sat in here at the moment.
Absolutely. The emissaries have said very much that they, they admire and sometimes they rather wish that they could have the experience that we have because it's visceral. This is you can't get any realer than this. This is when you were talking about things you were saying there that made me think about the fact that lots of people are saying I'm at the end of my tether. I'm not able to do anymore. I'm tired or whatever. And it made me think of the test that you can do with people, which is you say to them, "Hey, do as many press-ups as you possibly can. Go on, max out." And they go, "Ooh, do, 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 do," and they go, God, that's it. I can't do any more." You go, "We'll just do two more." Oh, okay. Yeah. And they go, "Oh, yeah, but that's it. Just do one more." And so what happens is our perception of our maximum and the reality of what our maximum is often a lot, and we hear these stories of people in very difficult situations that have done incredible things. Incredible things. I remember I don't know if you ever saw that film of the man who was hiking or whatever, and he fell and trapped his arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had to chop his own arm off, and then he ran to find people. Had to run for like miles to find people. That's when the chips are down, it's amazing what we can do. It's absolutely amazing. So there's that point, and then just another one, and it's a few weeks ago. I had a message that came from the Jesus Energy saying we are here. This their words were, "We are here. We've returned. You can tell them." That was the words. That's all it said. We've returned. You can tell them. And so I give that message out, and one of the things I said is, look, we are here. Just reach out to us, and you'll have the help. And some people were saying, but I have reached out, and I don't get any help. Okay. And there's a story of a man that I'm going to make the story this small. It's a big long story, but this small. There was a story of a church that had been submerged under the sea and had still had its bells. And they said that if you were really, really spiritual, really, really in tune, if you lay on the beach, you could hear the bells toll at high tide. And if you could hear them, that meant you were really spiritual. So everybody would go there and try and do it. And this boy sold everything he had. And he went there and I'm going to stay here until they hear the bells. And every day he sat there and he could not hear them. He couldn't hear them. In the end, he ran out of money. And he said to the guy who was giving him lodging, he said, I'm sorry, I'm going home tomorrow. I failed. I can't hear the bells. And so sad, he just went back to the beach and he sat there miserable, thinking, well, that's it, it's done. And that's when he heard the bells. Yeah. And I think it's the same with reaching out for help. Lots of times we want it too much. We're too focused on, sometimes what you got to do is put it out there and let it go. Just let it go and then get on with your life. And that's when I think they can better help you rather than, are you going to help me now? 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 Yeah. So we've got to trust that the universe knows how to help us. We don't have to guide them.
No, no. Total faith in your higher self is the way I see it for me. Personally, I can only talk about myself. So, yes, I use the pendulum as a comfort blanket for myself. Everybody has, some people, use tarot cards.
I use my
Some people,
fingers.
yeah, meditate. Some people even crazy enough to go running up the side of a mountain talking to the emissaries. You know, we all have our own different ways of doing it, and none of them are wrong and none of them are right. They're just our own personal way of doing it. When you want something too much, like manifestation wise, you push it away because your energy creates this field that pushes stuff away because you're too desperate.
Yeah.
If you sit back, express what you want, and know, really know, not just think, but know that it's going to come when it's the right time to come, not when you want it, when it's meant to come in. When you accept that fully, it always does,
Hmm.
and it always will. And sometimes it comes in ways that you would not realize. And in hindsight, you sit back and you think, oh, okay, that's how it came in.
Yeah.
But it always does. It always does. And for me, I now live my life like that. I have a very strange life, Gordon. The way I live is very unusual. Let's put it that way, in the way that I've chosen to live my life compared to 9 to 5 working. I've dropped out of that as much as I could, and I do all sorts of strange things because I know that whatever I do, I will be looked after.
Mm.
I will never go hungry. You can tell I never go hungry. Um, but I have total faith that I'm being looked after.
Mm.
There's somebody on my comments on my channel. I think his name's Gary as well, actually. And he wrote a comment the other day or last week, whenever it was, on one of my shows. He's done exactly the same. 9 years, I think he said 9 years ago, he stepped out of society and said, I will be looked after. Whatever I do, I'll be guided and looked after. And not everything I want, everything I need will
Yeah.
be provided for me.
Yeah.
And it has been for him as well. And it can be for you. We have the perception, the mental control. This is part of the control mechanism, isn't it? Going, oh my God, Gordon, if you don't go to work, you're a scrounger. If you don't do this, you're terrible. If you don't
Sure.
do that, and you've got to do that. Well, actually, who made up those rules?
Yeah. Yeah.
The control mechanism. So straight away, you're working to a set of rules, your standards and your expectations of those around you are not yours. They're a preconceived program of control for you to become your own Mr. Smith and control the matrix for the matrix.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. You reminded me of the of a expression that I used to have talking about manifestation and stuff like that. You can have anything you want. You just can't have everything that you want. And it's this kind of, I believe that sometimes we want things that we have no business wanting, that we have no business asking for. And I know that I've manifested some things that God, I so needed them at the time, and they came in beautifully. And I know that I've worked to manifest things, and I didn't need them, and I think if I'd got them, they would have damaged my life. So I think there's a limit to what we ask for. I think there's a part of, in our little story, our contract, there's like, yeah, you want that? Yeah, yeah, it's in there. Yeah, you want that? What were you asking for? It's not in you. You haven't written that in your contract. And so I think, retrospectively, when we look back, we are given everything that we need. Everything that we need. We just aren't given, we're not given things that are unnecessary, that could actually damage us.
And there's also be careful what you wish for. And we've
Yeah.
already kind of pertained to this, but it's very interesting. Now, I've got several friends who are or have been single in the past. And one of the ways of manifesting partners into your life is to write down a list of the things you want in that person, put it on a list, and just stick it behind a picture or just shove it somewhere in a drawer and go about your life.
Yeah.
Perhaps clean out a drawer, clean out a bedside cabinet to make space for that person. So you're making space in the physical for that person. You've written down what you wanted. So people I know have done this and they've met somebody who's exactly what they've written down. And boy, has it gone wrong badly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And yet, when they've been very open to what they want and just said a good, kind, honest person, not with all these preconditions, they've then met somebody who has been very good for them.
yeah.
Be careful what you wish for, everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, one thing I learned early on with manifesting is don't be too specific because you've got no effing idea what you need. And so as soon as you become specific, it makes the universe have a hard job because it has to try and fit something into your plan that maybe doesn't isn't supposed to be there. Um, and the other thing I learned about manifesting was because I was I'm a great manifester. I'm fab at it. But all I did was manifest things. So things, wonderful. But then I kept saying, but I don't feel, it hasn't made me feel any better. Then I discovered that if I just spent all of that energy manifesting happiness, then the universe would have given me everything I needed to be happy, and then I would be okay. What we think we need and what the universe knows that we need are two very, very different things sometimes. Very different things.
Totally, totally. And we really have no idea. You know, we live in the realm. We've spoken before when we did our flat round on Neva after the controversy of flat Earth, and oh my God, I've said the words. You
Oh
know,
my God, you've said, oh, that's it.
we're
Yeah.
doomed, we're all doomed.
YouTube.
Yeah, but we did response flat round and even. And I did a little slideshow and I kind of expressed and explained what I think we're in from the stepping stone of my journey.
Yeah.
So I believe we're in a toroidal field of consciousness. We're in a holographic reality that is real to us. And that's why we can manifest. That's why we can change things. That's why we can affect stuff around us. But we're also in a controlled program that has got a third party entity that's not got our best interests at heart.
Mm.
Not at all. And we can only think within the confines of what that 3D control mechanism allows us to think in. Source, our connection to source, the creator, God, whatever name you want to use, doesn't matter. For me, it's source. My connection to source is not a 3D entity. Source is infinite.
Mm.
God knows what D it would be. Doesn't matter, in fact. So there's me in a 3D construct being able to think in this tiny little bubble of thought when there's the whole rest of the universe of possibilities. And I'm asking for something so small and useless and pointless. When actually, if I just say to Source, give me what I need when I need it, look after me, we break this control mechanism of a small bubble of our own thought and we express it out to a universal acceptance of anything can come in when it should come in. And we're straight away, we're expanding our opportunities, not constricting them.
Exactly. Perfectly said. And it makes me think of the process I had to go through, which was I was trying to read The Course in Miracles, the book. I've tried to read it 3 times, failed miserably every time. It's so boring, the book. I can't get through it, but it's very beautiful. I know that. And they say if you get to the end of The Course in Miracles, you become enlightened and all the Buddha. God damn it, I can't do it. But I listened to a very beautiful lady who had kind of distilled it down, which is a bit more my style, in audiobook as well. And she was talking about her moment of surrendering to the universe, to God, to whatever, to source. And she said, I spent my entire life controlling everything around me. I wanted to control everything. And I was thinking, yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah. Everything, I had to control it. And she said, and I realized, what do I know? What do I know compared to source? What do I know that I need compared to source? And she said, when I realized that, that's when I was able to say, I surrender myself to you and to your plan. And it was a pivotal moment for me because I thought, it's exactly what I've been doing. I thought I knew what I needed, and yet everything I got didn't make me happy. And so and it was frightening to do because I thought, what if I'm given more than I can handle? What if I'm given too much? That was what if everything's been taken away from me? But then I did it, I surrendered myself and I just had this moment of, oh my God, what a relief. Oh my God, what a relief. Just as you said, you give me what I need. I don't know. You give me what I need. And that's basically, to me, that's the fundamental basis of true happiness is knowing I haven't got a clue. Leave it in the hands of people who know, the beings who know, not people, the beings who know.
Yeah. And again, it takes away the lies. We go back to the beginning of the show again. It takes away the levels of lies because it doesn't matter what lies they've given you. It doesn't matter what they're doing, what they're saying. Look over here with this piece of news. Look over here with this piece of news. Oh my God, data centers. Oh my God, this. Oh my God, that. Oh my God, politics. Oh my God, migrants coming in, being flooded in. And oh my God, and the whole world's coming to. Actually, none of that actually matters. And it really doesn't when you
Mm,
start looking at it because this is the only tool the third party has to distract us from actually sitting there thinking, hang on a minute. We're all powerful beings. We can do whatever we want, whenever we want, and we don't have to conform to your controlled societal constructs. And if we actually sit back and give ourselves to ourselves, which is what we're doing, we're talking about this, to give yourself the source, you're giving yourself to you
Mm.
internally. This isn't an external thing. We're not praying to Buddha,
Yeah.
Jesus, God, or Lucifer, or anybody else for that matter. This
Mm.
is you. This is you, your source connection, the connection to the universe and everything else. Once you give yourself to you, if that makes sense, everybody, if that makes sense, you give yourself to you, then everything else starts to drop away.
Mm.
And it
Yeah.
makes the journey clearer and easier. For me personally, the noise dropped away and it continues to do so. It doesn't happen overnight, everybody. It's a journey, it's a process, but things become easier, don't they, Gordon? You suddenly, oh my God, that happened easily. Oh, that slotted in nicely. Oh wow. And you get these things coming along that just flow so easily, and the changes that you can make without having to force them to fit suddenly become available to you. And you think, bloody hell, that's a new opportunity. I never would have thought about that.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
changes everything. And what did you do to do that? You gave yourself to you.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I agree entirely. And just kind of to round this off, it makes me think of the last scene in the Truman Show. And it's the one that for me, the Truman Show was beautifully done, impactful. But the one part that impacted me the most is kind of like a metaphor for where we are, which is all of us like this, watching. Oh my God, the show ends and everyone says, "Oh, should we go and get a beer then?" And it's as easy as that. It's we'll just turn that off. We'll turn it off and let's go and start living our life, and that it's we always had that. We've always had that possibility. It's always there, just to turn it off. And turning off is a metaphor for whatever it is that you're focusing on that's making you feel this not good way. And then let's go and dig the garden. Let's go and plant some trees. Let's go and walk in the fields with bare feet. Let's go and have fun. Fun doesn't matter. That's what life is. Life isn't migrants and presidents, and it isn't that. That's not real.
No,
Mm.
no. And we haven't even spoken about the corruption of the system. But if you actually believe what Redacted is saying and it's all lies, it's totally pointless to put your control or expect somebody external to you to look after you,
Would be madness, wouldn't it?
wouldn't it?
Madness to believe that somebody else is going to look after your best interests. No, I think you should look after your best interests. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Gary, it's been absolutely lovely talking to you as always. As always.
As
Thank
you,
you.
Gordon, thank you very much for having me on again.
You're welcome. And thank you for having me on your channel as well, because it's a dual thing that happens, yeah. Brilliant. And so we'll probably get together in a while and have another chat, see what's happening.
Sounds great. Look forward to it as always.
Yeah. Lovely. And thank you very much to everybody for spending time with us. Gary has a Telegram group in Peaceful Rebellion. We have a Telegram group. You're welcome to join us. We're nearly up to 600 members. It's lovely, but you've got to be a nice person to join us. But it's filled with people who understand you. You don't have to feel alone ever again. Just come and, bring in your weird ideas and everyone will welcome you.
Yeah, and again, there is no weird ideas. There are only ideas.
I've heard a few weird ones, Gary, let me tell you. Yeah,
Thank you
brilliant.
very much, everybody. Love, light, and blessings.
Bye bye.
Appreciate you all.